Hi, I'm Dr. Sheeva Talebian here at CCRM New York. I am the Director of Third-Party Reproduction. A large part of my role here at CCRM are helping individuals and couples work with egg donors. So what is egg donation? So egg donation is a process whereby typically women 21 to 31 with good fertility testing, good ovarian reserve, undergo an IVF stimulation process, have eggs extracted, and then those eggs are either immediately frozen or immediately fertilized with the intent to be used by another person. So that other person is often referred to as the recipient. I'm going to talk a little bit today about who are recipients and who needs donor eggs. So men, obviously, individual or couples need donor eggs, or trans women, simply because they don't have ovaries with eggs. But aside from this obvious indication, there are many other individuals who do need donor eggs as well. Ovarian insufficiency is defined as a woman who goes through menopause before she even turns 40. It's a very rare scenario. Only about 1% of women truly do go through menopause when they're under the age of 40. But this would be another indication for a woman to need egg donation. And then there are also many women who are in their 40s who are in full menopause or perimenopause, who really have very low egg counts or diminished egg quality, who also may go the donor egg route. And then there are women with unexplained infertility who maybe undergo multiple rounds of IVF, still produce eggs, however, their embryo quality is diminished, or they're opting to chromosomally screen their embryos and they consistently have abnormal embryos. This is another very large category of individuals who may go the donor egg route as well. A woman who knows she carries a genetic disorder that can be passed along can also use donor eggs to avoid doing so. And then obviously women who've had their ovaries surgically removed. But there are, various indications as to why someone may need donor eggs. And it's typically a decision that is not one that comes at the initial consult. The decision to go the donor egg route is really after testing has been done, or multiple cycles have been done without success. And it's a mutual discussion between the individual, the couple, and their physician, their reproductive endocrinologist specifically. And it also a decision where we very often involve a mental health specialist as well. We think it's really important for individuals, couples, to speak with a mental health specialist specifically in this area of third-party reproduction to discuss the use of donor eggs, and the future offspring and disclosure, and a lot of the issues surrounding the use of donor eggs. Who are the egg donors? So an egg donor can be directed or known, so it can sometimes be a family member, a sister, but most egg donor cycles in the US are through anonymous donors. And whether known or anonymous, egg donors are really undergo the same type of screening, which is highly regimented and strict. So part of the screening obviously entails ovarian reserve testing, so blood testing and an ultrasound, medical checkups, and then very important to the screening process is a psychologic assessment to really make sure that the potential donor understands the process, understands the risks, and also understands future implications as well for her. So that is always part of the process as well. Genetic screening of the eggs is always done too for the egg donor. We want to make sure that the egg donor and potential sperm source don't carry the same genetic recessive disorder. And so that's also commonly done testing as well. For the recipients, what type of testing is done? Well, many of the recipients have already been on a very long journey themselves, and so have often had a lot of exams done regarding their uterus, but it's obviously important before a recipient undergoes an embryo transfer that she has a uterine cavity assessment, so either a saline sonogram, an HSG, also various medical checks, checking thyroid, blood counts, etc. Depending on her medical history, depending on her age, we may require additional testing, consultation with a high-risk obstetrician as well. Obviously a male individual or a male couples and trans women also need to use a surrogate in addition to an egg donor. So that's obviously another highly involved process. But the use of donor eggs is, a lot more common than we realize. Over 50% of IVF pregnancies in women over the age of 42, over 50% of successful IVF pregnancies in women over the age of 42 are via the use of donor eggs, and over 90% in women over the age of 48 are from donor eggs. Now we do have egg freezing, so we may, a lot of women now who might be freezing their eggs in their early 30s, maybe using those eggs later on in their mid 40s and 50s, and so in some ways they're donating to themselves. So these stats may change a little bit, but in general, the majority of pregnancies really in women well into their 40s via IVF are through the use of donor eggs. But there are many indications to use donor eggs, and again, it's typically not a decision that's made in a day or at one visit, but after multiple discussions and exams, and sometimes for many it's a long journey of fertility using their own eggs where they then go the donor egg route. And we are definitely, something that we do here all the time at CCRM. We work with both egg banks and then fresh donor eggs. So again, there is the option to work with egg banks where the eggs are already there and available and frozen, or there also is the option to recruit an egg donor who oftentimes is anonymous, but I would undergo her, she would undergo her medical evaluation with me. I would meet her and she would do the IVF process here with us, and the eggs could get fertilized fresh as well. So there is the option for egg banks, fresh extraction here, but it's a wonderful option for starting a family, adding to your family, and something that's really been around for decades. So if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to us, and we're happy to give more details on the process. Thank you for listening.